Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Satguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. questions? Everyone is good? Either you're good or you have a question. Huh? You have a question? Good.
I don't have a question. I want to just clarify that, when you were showing us the Magog effect 2 days ago. So, when that hand thing, and then some of us said that, I must have had prior knowledge of being a hand or to have had that reaction. And I went back and I was looking. And I don't have to have any prior knowledge of anything actually. Like I just realized that in that moment, all the knowledge that's necessary for whatever needs to be is just created in that instant, like in that dream. Where you showed us once that if in the dream I have a past, I have a future, I don't wake up without, saying I don't know anything.
Yes.
It's the same way. I mean, I didn't know. I don't have to have any knowledge of anything. That it just struck me like that. It's quite shocking actually. And even like when you said that on the computer sound is only ba ba ba. And so who's making up this other sound of fa fa fa? Who else is making it up? I mean, it's just being made up, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so let me give some context to those who haven't seen it. So, after Satsang the other day, I shared with everyone, and you can also find on YouTube, this effect called the Magog effect. MCGURK, Magog effect. So, what happens in the Magog effect is that when the lips, so there's a recording which is ba ba ba, and what happens is that is what is the only sound which is playing. So this sound is the only sound which is playing. But what happens is when they change the video and the lips are moving fa fa fa, so it feels like you're actually hearing fa fa fa. And even if you know about this effect and how it works, you still hear fa fa fa. You see, there is no sound. If you're not looking at the screen, you're not looking at the video, there is no sound fa fa fa. So I was asking, where is the sound? Where is the sound fa? You see? So he says the sound fa is in me, but it still seemed like you heard it from outside. It seemed like you heard it from the computer. You see, if you ask which direction the sound is coming from, you will say it is coming from there. And yet, where was it? Only inside you. So this this boundary that we say me, in me and outside me, you see, is just made up, is conceptual. So we can say, okay, that is an effect, that is an illusion, so therefore I just make a mistake, you see, and I hear the sound. But if the sound far can be there inside you, but it can seem like it is coming from outside, then what about the sound by itself? What about this sound that you're hearing now? This voice. At least we cannot confirm for certain. And that not confirming, that not knowing conceptually makes us open. And this openness is needed. This openness is needed, otherwise we are so convinced that we are just tiny objects on this tiny object called the world. Then if we are convinced about that and we want to fit spirituality into that box of what you already think you are convinced about, then that is the seeker identity who is struggling to fit God into yourself. You see? Once you let go of this box, of all that you cannot truly confirm, but seem to have confirmed, you see? If you just let go of that box, you see that God is all there is. You don't even have to use the term God. You see? So as a seeker, if you are not trying to fit anything into the box of our understanding, you see, what is left? You're not trying to do anything for a moment. Not trying to get something, not even trying to let go of something. Nothing. What is left of the seeker? If you didn't have to struggle with anything at all. Now, a tip I want to give you is that don't presume what this is. What you're left with, you also put that into a mental box. You see, if you put that into a mental box, then you can feel like, okay, I've tried this before, I've done this, I've seen that this is something, this world or something is all there is. Still too much presumption. Be empty of any notions about what remains as well. To be empty is to be that. Father, when it comes to key and immediate decisions in practical life, even when I try to surrender or observe, I find it difficult to disentangle myself from the decision making process. Though I see that eventually some action happens, how do I escape from suffering and confusion in the process? If there seem like there are key and immediate decisions, you cannot step back, you see, then let those happen. You see. Dive in, become the decision maker, make all the choices, evaluate everything, do it, finish it off. You see. But then once it's done, then come back to your emptiness. Because otherwise what can happen is that this struggle, that why can't I disengage, when I have important decisions to make, all of that will just perpetuate. Isn't it? So if it feels like there's something I can't disengage with, I have to meet it in this way, then finish it, do it. But then after it is done with, then don't pick up guilt, remorse, pride. Don't worry so much about the outcome. And as this openness increases more and more and more, then the temptation to become personal with anything will also reduce more and more and more. A good example is to look at it this way. Right now you are here in Satsang. That means there is no immediate decision at least to be made. You see? So in this Satsang you have the immediate opportunity to be empty and to discover your true self. You see? But the mind plays this trump card about but what happens when I have these decisions to make. So then, even now, we get caught up in that which is past and future. And in this way, it can just perpetuate. You see? Now, we say that the struggle is when these decisions come and I have to make these decisions. Okay. So the rest of the time, if you are open if we are effortless, if we are natural the rest of the time, then that is enough. The mind plays up on the idea of a problem. The truth has never had any problem. The mind plays up on the idea that there is this problem, but the truth has never had. Nitya wants to come up. She can come.
Hello.
My dear, I'm going to mute now.
It's so strange when no noise is there to speak on. Um, I just want to say some. Anyway, I just felt I need to come up at least once in a while because something is just building up. When I don't show myself, just showing myself is already enough to and I wanted to. What just came up was what you said with this Mogok effect or whatever. What something similar or relating to that was happening yesterday when I just some memories were coming up and I was looking at the memories, and they felt so strange because I wanted to look for the source of the memories, and I could not find anything like memories like that. And I felt it's pretty much the same like you said in the beginning. It was so the memory. There's just actually only now, right now. There's just no time as such, and I was wondering where does it come? There's just no answer to anything actually, and that was so yeah, just like falling, falling. You can nothing has a cause, like you said the other day. We had this cause and effect question, and it is actually not like we think it is. It is totally not. I just had to share that because it is something else to think about these things. But when you're in the experience of it, it is so totally different. Yes, that's what I want to share. Thank you.
Very good, very good. You see, memory, we end up relying on it so much to provide so much of this story. You see, but it's so strange, it's so unreliable also. Because how many moments of yesterday do we actually remember? 5, 10, 100? How many moments from yesterday do we remember? So, in the so many thousands of moments, we just remember a little bit. And that also, we are not certain that that's how it happened. Because it happens in every discussion, every meeting, every event in life, that everybody who was there seems to remember it in a different way. Is it? Like sometimes I've seen twins actually speaking, and one twin is saying, but when we were younger, this is how it happened. And the other saying, what are you saying? I was there. Of course not. This is not what happened. You see? So his memory is very unreliable, and as we are questioning the nature of experience itself, like we are questioning that far sound which everyone heard, but it wasn't actually there. You see? Then what can we say about the experience itself? And memory is just the claim that I have the repository of my past experiences. You see? But we have never met the past actually. And you think about yesterday, will you think about that yesterday, or will it just be images that appear in your future? Is there a past which is moving forward into the future? You see? If that is so, then there is no past. Is there a future that is coming here now to die into the past? You see? Then also there is no past. All these become, when we take into these presumptions of being limited in time and space, then they become the narrative of the mind and our story. What is here now? Who are you here as now? Who are you now? Don't be scared of this question. Don't be scared to leave the mask of separation aside. Don't be scared if it feels like jumping into a void of yourself. Because what you may call void, I may call light more than light. Father, due to events, there is strong fear and panic. Yes, I am aware. But a desire for this to pass keeps the identification alive. Please say a few words of clarity. Well, I can't promise clarity, but let's see. Let's see what comes. So, now what happens is that many times we take this mythical position, and on one hand, as an option for us is awareness, and the other hand, the option for us is personal. You see? And then this mythical one keeps juggling. Yes, yes, this. Yes, yes, this. You see, like that. Now, so when we say that, yes, I'm aware, but, you see, Anytime we say this is a tip for everyone. When we say, I am aware, but know that you've taken a position like that. You see? A position that is trying to be beyond even awareness. That which is saying, there is this for me and also there is that for me. For reality, there is nothing but that itself. This is clear? I can repeat again because this is a very important point. If you find yourself saying, I am awareness, but, you see, then notice that there's like another mental position that we are taking which wants to make the mind beyond even awareness and say, yes, awareness is there, but also this is happening to me. You see? And the me to which it is happening is definitely not awareness. So we made this mythical position so strong, which is saying that, I am awareness, I am this, and yet this is what my life is like, you see. So the antidote to this, the way to get around this mind trick is to say, who is aware of this awareness? Who is making the claim that I am awareness? And is it the one that is saying, I am aware, but who can come to this recognition, I am aware? In fact, you typed out the but in capital letter. So this, like, but, you see, a desire for this to pass keeps the identification alive. But the desire, like, if you are awareness, then what is your desire? You see? So, in a way, the mind tries to compartmentalize even awareness and say, when we say I am aware, actually it is saying, yes, actually there is awareness, but also there is this. But who are you? You see? So don't let the mind create these compartments. You check. You see? Who are you? If you say that I am aware, you see, is there any but after that? In reality, are there any events for this one? And maybe we shouldn't say this one, we should say you. Are there any events for you? So, once you see, like Bhagavan said, awareness is your name. You see? So, if awareness is your name, then does any desire belong to you? Does any event happen to you? But now, nothing. Notice this, if you say I am awareness but, we used to play this game. I am awareness but, why don't I get it? Oh, I am awareness but, why do I keep forgetting it? I am awareness but, why am I so dumb? I am awareness, but when will the identification go? What are the favorite ones? All these ones. I am awareness, but why can't I stay as it? I am awareness, but then what am I still doing in satsang? Is it? I am awareness, but I keep losing. These are the top hits.
I am awareness, but the me is knowing that I am aware.
The me. Good one. You can add that to the list. I am awareness, but me is trying to get it.
It's very rare that it comes effortless.
It's very rare that effortlessness comes. Because in effortlessness, it is. You see? So it is not that it is very rare that it comes effortlessly. Actually, it is very rare for effortlessness to come, it seems. In your effortlessness, when you are effortless, this is apparent to you actually. Our struggle is our play of pretending to be not that. Our suffering, our struggle is just our play of pretending to be not that.
How to stop this play?
How to stop this play? Stop asking how.
So stop. It doesn't stop.
Huh?
It doesn't stop.
Stop. It will stop.
Stop in this moment, but it will be again.
This is the problem. But so stop in this moment, no, at least. Again we'll say again. उसको तब देखेंगे. See, you say yourself, this is a beautiful example. I can stop now, but it will come again. So now is it a good idea then that because it will come again, I don't even stop now? This is the tricks, you see? Tricks of the mind. And it charms you. Who was it telling me the other day? Like words are spellings, and spellings contain spells. The mind puts you in this hypnosis, you know. Oh, you can be free now, but I'll come back again. And therefore then we are not even being free now. Is it? If you're hungry and you have a big buffet in front of you, you see, then will you not eat it because you say, okay, but I'll be hungry tomorrow again? But this is what the mind says to us. I want the truth, you see, but I know I can get it now. But what about the me which will be there tomorrow? How to help that one who doesn't exist? You are the truth now. That's all I can show you. You see, I want the truth. Here it is. But no, I want it for the one who will be there tomorrow. You see? So how to help that non-existent one? Should I help the one who's here now or the one who will be there tomorrow? Then you go, let that one come. Can you go? The one that needs to be helped, let me meet that one. So the one that is here now, you go. And bring the one who will be here tomorrow. You see? You come to a doctor and say, right now I'm fine, but can you give me some medicine for a disease I may have tomorrow? not just saying for you, but this is a general tendency we have. Or we have this tendency to say, yes, actually I know this, I've seen this many times in the past. You see? So therefore I won't. Like I've eaten breakfast every day, or I've eaten food every day, so I don't need to eat today. The tricks that the mind has are actually very, very juvenile. If the mind came to you like a child in front of you and you would have that objectivity, then you would laugh at it. But because we seem to lose objectivity when it comes to this voice inside our heads, you see, we're like, yeah. So, if somebody came to Hari and said, oh, Hari Bhaiya, right now I seem to be free, you see, I'm fine, but can you help me for the one tomorrow? What would you say?
I don't know, I'm not free now also.
Huh? That's your answer. It's okay. I've said it all. That's okay.
It's pretty strange that same suffering one moment, and next moment he is laughing. I mean, the struggle for him is quite intense, and
I don't know about that.
It's okay, why to make confusion? I don't know.
Like children are like that actually. Are they suffering more or less? Is it? Children just cry. If you snatch their candy and you give them back something else and they're happy, they've forgotten the candy. So can we say it is more or less? I would say it is more spontaneous, it is fine. Lots of chat happening. Okay. Father, could you please talk on Nisargadatta Maharaj's quote? Nothing stands in the way of your liberation, and it can happen here and now, but for your being more interested in other things. Yes. He said it all, no? Basically. One time, one man, this reminded me of this conversation, beautiful conversation. You can turn the AC off for a bit, I feel some sneezing and stuff. So, at one time, this man came, he sat in front of Papaji and said, when I'm at your feet, everything is okay. You see? Everything is okay. But when I go into the marketplace of the world, how do we find? So Papaji told him, I'm paraphrasing again, he said, being at the Master's feet does not mean being here physically. It means to be surrendered to Him. And if you're surrendered to Him, then no trouble can ever come. But you actually do your surrender, but you have tied yourself already with a rope from outside. You see? Which then pulls you back again into that. You see? So he said to him, all these stories will not help you. You see? So once you're at the Master's feet, then no marketplace, no outside. You see? And because these feet don't have, the Sadguru's presence does not have a boundary. So it's very direct what Maharaj has said, and sometimes it's important to be direct like that. And that's why I say truth for truth's sake. You see? If we are in this so that we can get something out of it, besides just realizing what is true, you see, then that is also in that category of interested in other things. So, how does this play out actually? He said, nothing stands in the way of your liberation, and it can happen here and now. You see? So, nothing stands in the way of your liberation. It's beautiful. Nothing stands in the way of your liberation. That means you are free now. But there is a way to play as if you are unfree, and you play that by being interested in other things. And what are these other things? Are ideas which the mind is bringing to you. That may include your own ideas about your own freedom. Yeah. So this, like I keep saying, no? The seeker is also very, very individualized, because the seeker wants to do this my way. Yeah. And it happens inevitably when somebody says, okay, like the other day it happened like this. He said, Father, can you take me through the inquiry? Huh? So I said, who are you? He said, no, like this. You see, it was a beautiful, a sweet conversation. It was very spontaneous, but it was fun to watch, you see, because we said, take me through the inquiry. Not like this, but I was thinking that we will have it this way or that way. You see? We still have like this attached to an idea of how it should happen for us, and how I am going to get there, and how I will do it. You see? And that is why when I came in front of my master physically, then life had already beaten out most of this stuff. You see, I had tried every way, like my way was this way, this way, this way. You see? Now, something had already opened up very much, so I was just like, please, help me even with the first question. You see? Now, if you hear this, and on hearing this you feel like, okay, this can be my way now, you see, then that is still not it. That's the way to do it. I'll just go and say, okay, you only tell me the question. You see, something like that. But then that has already become a step. You see, it has already become my way. Something becomes very, very open. And in your openness, you don't need to hear anything actually. It is just something brings you to that point of openness, and this is apparent to you. You see? When you are open, the divine presence is already apparent. You see? Sometimes you might have the physical form of the master in front of you, or you may not have. That is not the critical part. You see? The critical part is to let go of this my way. So you may say, like he was saying some time ago, but how to let go? Then the master may remind you, but okay, already done, you've let go. Then you may say again, but how to let go? The master will say, okay, done. Then if you say again, but how to let go? Then the master may say, okay, just ask yourself who you are. Ask yourself who you are. Or the master may say, just whatever comes, let it be the Sadguru's problem. These are the simple things that are being spoken. Prisha says she wants to come up. Yes, my dear, you can come. Unmute, and I will mute. Hello.
There's so much energies that pile up here, and I already wrote something on heart altar, and I think it's all connected in a way. Do you hear me?
I was saying that I hear you, but I don't see your video anymore. Let me see where you went. There you go.
But camera is on. Okay. What I wrote on heart altar, and I feel that in addition to that, I feel that there's so much energy piling up here since a few days. And it's of course this resistance that I feel everywhere around me. Everything I plan is, there is always an invitation to fight again. And I know this fighting so well. And when I'm not fighting, the other thing that how I react is to let go and leave it all by itself. And this doesn't also feel that right. So I don't know where I have to go. You know, it is difficult for me to, for example, like being with the puberty of my son. If I'm not fighting, the other part I choose is to let go completely, and this doesn't also feel right. So I don't know how this works. And on the other hand, I see with all these fightings, it doesn't matter which issue it is. I can observe this so well. This stuff doesn't fit anymore into this life. I feel it is like a call and response thing that I can see so well. I hope you understand what I mean. So on one hand, I don't know how to deal with it in practical life, and on the other hand, I see it's so obvious that there's only space. I hope you understand what I mean.
Yes. So there are two apparent positions. One is the fight. Should I do this? The second is the let go. The other, the same way to say this again is the whole struggle, and the space. You see? Now, if it is not clear what I'm going to say now, I want to continue this conversation with you. But what I want to say firstly is that what if one of these was not in opposition to the other, in the sense that the space that you recognize yourself to be, within that, how this body mind functions the space is fully open to that. You see? Is it not like this? You see? So, because you are recognizing the space in which this body mind functioning is happening, does it necessarily mean that this body should just sit on the bed and meditate all day? You see? So it does not define that. You see? It is not opposed to that also, if that is how it unfolds. You see? Now, when you see yourself as this space, and I'm hoping that it's not a space which is three dimensional, not like a space with length, breadth, and height, but a subtler space. And you can tell me about this. But when you see yourself as this space of being, let's call it, you see, then do you find that there is a mechanism for through which it is doing, uh, like with intent, these actions? You see, like it is deciding, okay, it should only move like this. You see, or do these actions just seem to unfold within it in a very natural way? And the action can be any type of action. Isn't it? So, this dilemma that there are two ends of the spectrum and you have to pick one is making you suffer. You see? When you see yourself, and as you are seeing yourself to be what you are, then it is not a dilemma, because in that there is so much openness that everything is allowed. So in one moment you're being the mother who's concerned about the puberty, in another moment and when I say you are, I'm still talking about the functioning of the body mind within this space that you speak of. You see? So sometimes this is functioning this way, sometimes it is functioning that way. And that space is not even concerned about the outcome of these apparent actions of the body mind. Is it not like this? You see? So it is not really a decision that you have to make, that should I be this fighter or should I be the letting goer. You see, as you let go, you see, as you let go, you will find that there are times where the body mind can still fight. You see, so empty of taking a mental position, empty of making yourself conceptually into either this or that. When you remain open and spacious, like you said, you see, then all these apparent movements can come.
Must I say something about
Yes,
it?
yes.
I understand what you mean. And the thing is, when I'm in daily life, I know about that space, but this stuff is acting out, And I see this space sees how ridiculous this is in a way and doesn't judge it in another way. But it's anyhow acting out. I'm fighting with this boy, I'm fighting with this one. So what to do in this situation then?
You see, that's what. This is very good, and I want to reiterate. I want to re-emphasize the tip I gave a little earlier. Notice that every time you say I am aware, or you say I am this space, or I see this space, but you see, then notice that you've already made yourself something other than that. You see, because that space, that awareness, that witnessing, that truth does not have that but. You see, so when we try to juggle as a limited entity these two ends of the spectrum, which is one is pure awareness and the other end is a very limited sort of position, you see, then that one who's trying to juggle these two is bound to suffer. In fact, that is suffering. You see? So instead of checking that, okay, is there this space or not, because then it just objectifies even that space and says, yes, there, it is there. You see, we must keep checking, but who am I in this? What am I in this? You see? So, as we check on this, then we see that when we say I am aware or I am awareness, then it is impossible to put a but after that actually. I'm not verbally policing you. You see? I'm just giving all of us a tip to check, because our mind will sell us the story. Yes, yes, awareness is there. You see? But what about me? In a way, you see, it may not sound like that is what it's saying, but that's exactly what it's saying. Yes, awareness is there, but what about me? You see? So the me seems to come out of even the inquiry in this unscathed fashion, saying, "Oh, that was nice." You see? You see? So, so it is not like this. To see that I am aware or I am awareness, you see, then there is no, the little guy is not there now. You see? That was just made up. So the one who wants to juggle between awareness and worldly life, you see, is the made up entity which is just suffering. Let's hear some more from you, maybe, about this.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
The one who says I am awareness, but what about this and that, is basically saying I am awareness, but what about me? This me is the same me that you see was left behind in the inquiry, but seems to make a reappearance, saying that was very nice thing we did. No, very good. Now, what does this mean for me? And some fear can come with this, because this is coming to our defenselessness. You see? This is coming to our defenselessness. You see? Because we become so open that whatever is just is allowed. And to the mind that can seem scary. And it can feel like a loss of control. But it is only the loss of that which was mythical. It was never there anyway. It is like we used to do this together. Yeah, I wonder if you remember that we used to say, um, what does I represent? And then one time Claire told me very beautifully, it is just I, but I. It's another way of saying I. But now, what about the me? So that is why, and I'm remembering Amaya a lot as I say this, that in Satsang it came to me, and then I was calling it the ninja sword or something. No? That who is aware of this awareness? You see, when we say I am aware, then we said also who is aware of this awareness. And I said this is my ninja sword which I want to offer. And then for some days I was saying like that. Then I told Amaya that I've been so stupid. I realized that there is ninjas don't have swords. It's samurais who have swords. You know? Ninjas usually have. Anyway, we're digressing too much. You see? The main point is that when we come to this conclusion, I am aware, it is good to ask who is this I, who is aware. You see? Then that dichotomy, that possibility to carry the little me out of the inquiry does not remain. You see? Because when we say, yes, yes, I am aware, but this is what to do about this. You see, then that I is no longer representing awareness. You see? It is representing a me, which we don't find actually. So now in the same way, like you said, that I am aware, or I don't remember exactly what you said, but I am aware, but this, or that. Whatever the content of the but might be, ask yourself, who is the I, who is aware? None of us should try to be the ones who are juggling awareness in person. That one is a supreme sufferer. It may not seem that way because something the mind will try to say, yes, yes, I can get a handle on this. There's awareness on one side and there's this me on one side. I can control this stuff. You can't. You just can't do it. You come to the truth of what you are, then you see that the positions of these opposites, you see, are just not real. This is not opposed to anything. Every aspect of the play of the body mind has always been its play anyway. You see? Just what seems to switch is that it, the mode of the play seems to switch out of this suffering mode into openness. You see? So when you notice that there is a, okay, what is the final tip? The tip is that when you notice okay. The final tip is this, that when you notice that you are able to say these things like I am aware but, or I see the space but something, and you have still the ability to believe something like that, ask yourself, who is aware of that? Who is aware of awareness? Who is the I who is aware of awareness?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, my dear.
Can I ask you something else?
Just yes, yes, yes.
Can you talk about this resistance, please? That is all over here. I mean, maybe I think this is, I feel it is something like a mirror that is, you were talking about this fight, the I and me and whatever, and maybe this is a mirror just around me. That's why it is so immense now. Is that why? Because it wants to show me that?
Yes, yes, that's one way to look at it. But sometimes, okay, tell me what is happening in another way. Don't use the term resistance. You see, because resistance is also something that we learned in Satsang. So, what is happening? Just tell me in another way. Maybe like explaining to a child what is happening to you.
Explaining to a child is quite. Nothing is happening the way I want it.
Yes, yes, yes. But this happens to me all the time as a child. Is that resistance, Auntie? You're on mute, my dear. Somehow you went.
Repeat it. I just you just said it happens to me all the time.
Yeah, that's all I said. You said that what I'm facing, and that's all I heard. Maybe you said something before that, but you said nothing is happening the way I want it to, and I look at my child life and I say, but yeah, I wanted so much candy. I wanted not to go to school. I wanted so many things that way, but none of it is happening. So is that what you mean?
Yes.
So then both of us are having same resistance. Just the topic is different, no? Just the topic is different. I have resistance to not I don't want to go to school. I want just chocolate. I don't want to eat any green vegetables. You see, and now you seem to have replaced it with other things which seem like more grown-up things, but maybe they are not.
It's exactly what I wanted to act. It's not like more grown-up thing, but it is exactly what I wanted to say.
You see, so this is very good. So sometimes to talk like this is very important because what has happened? All of us are still children actually. Just we are pretending to play grown up because now we have bigger words. You see, but our issues are the same. I am not getting my way. So what would you take? I was just going to ask that because I could sense that question was coming. So now, when your son was little younger, and he said, "I want candy, I want no school, I want to just play in the park all day," you see, what you told him?
I said something what grown-ups say.
You would have said something like, "Trust mommy, she knows better what is good for you." So yeah, so basically, yeah, all parents, all of us have done that. You see, so basically, you ask the child to surrender, isn't it? That's exactly what we do in satsang. Don't judge, surrender. Know that this divine presence, God, Father, whatever you call it, knows better than what our mind is saying right now.
Was coming up that this resistance is the resistance is nothing personal. I took it too personal. Just resistance, just what it is. It's, yeah.
Life is never personal.
Became so strong because it's now grown-up place, you know, and on a very high level place, and that's why I felt so serious, or it feels so serious.
Exactly. So that's what happens. That is why all the sages have said to return to our innocence. You see. Because our grown-up nature hasn't really learnt anything important. It just picked up a lot of seriousness along the way. This does not mean that, like even with the children, sometimes they cry, sometimes they fret, they throw tantrum, you see, but they're not hold a grudge. They're not saying, "Why is life doing this to me?" You see, they might say, "Why are my parents doing this to me?" But that also momentarily. so, so it's just like this. Just the topics of our what we say that has changed and become more sophisticated as we have grown up. You see, I want candy has become I want freedom. But the want part is still the same. Okay, very good, very good. I enjoyed this conversation very much. Okay. Next question is, only in the waking state can we recognize the absolute or that consciousness is there. But in deep sleep, neither we know about the person, or I am, or absolute. What happens in deep sleep? What exactly happens in deep sleep? Yes. So, your true self knowledge is not lost. In deep sleep state, you're right that even I amness is not there, and all knowledge, which is conceptual knowledge of person, conceptual knowledge of being, conceptual knowledge of self or the absolute, is not there. But you are still there. You see? Now, this I am still there is just the worldly transition of what you actually know, but know wordlessly. This is that same apparent truth which I say to all of you, you have. But once you try to capture it in your intellect, in your mind, it is lost. So that knowledge, that self knowledge, is not gone anywhere. So the self remains the self. I remains I, but not as the limited, even Jivatma. You see? Not even like the individualized consciousness, but that which is beyond that. So, to discover this which does not sleep in the waking state is playfully called self-recognition or liberation. To recognize that which does not sleep and it completely knows itself but never knows itself mentally, never has the need to know itself mentally. That is called recognition. And liberation is to see that this is what I am, and that one remains untouched throughout the play of this appearing world. So we can talk about a lot more about this, and many times it's very confusing, but one experiment you can do is if and you can't really plan to do this, but if somewhere I can see this in you, which is that in the first moment of your waking up, you see, if you can observe what changed or who woke up, then I'm happy to hear any of your reports on that. So notice that the I which is aware of being, I am, has remained untouched throughout all the states, whatever the state might come and go, and whatever content the states might bring, never touch this reality. So allow some of these to become your own insights. I can keep providing the inquiry, the way to look. Maybe this is time pass for consciousness. We can't really say any why for why all this happens, or even the what for that matter. But observe even the play of time. You see, it's a beautiful inquiry. So time appears only in the presence of your being. We talked about various cases where in dreams years, lifetimes seem to have gone, but all happened within 20 minutes in this world's time. See, so time seems to be as malleable as space for our consciousness, as unlimited, as stretchable for our consciousness as space is. You see, and yet, you see, we seem to be able to put duration to sleep and to waking. These are all beautiful inquiries. Father, does a Jnani have no thoughts, nor any random desires, no desire to eat ice cream? How is it different from a normal worldly man then? Right? We have to ask a Jnani, tell me if you find one. Okay, let me say what I'm trying to say. For now, the term Jnani for you is a thought. So don't bother with it for some time. No benchmark is needed, because you might hear, okay, these are the attributes of a sage, you see, if there is such a thing, you see, in terms of the attributes. So you might hear, okay, the sage is like this, the sage is like that. Then what will you do with that? You will look at your own experience and your day yesterday, and you say, oh, look how far I am from Bhagwan. So these benchmarks are not useful at this point. So I don't want to say anything. I don't want to tell you about whether the mind continues and it doesn't get belief, or how much it continues, or whether you come to complete dissolution, manonasha. You see, just see if you can let go of any benchmarks, any comparative tools for some time, because your mind will constantly use them to put you down. I want to tell all of you one thing which is important in this conversation, which is that in your notionless existence, you're as free as the greatest sage that you can imagine. You see? You have a sense of what I'm saying, right? You don't have to, in your notionless existence, you don't have to sit and imagine the greatest sage, then you're not notionless anymore. I'm just saying that whatever you feel is the highest that you can become, or the highest there is to achieve, is already your true nature in your motionless existence. This is the highest ideal. This is the absolute truth. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Sadguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Guru Kripa Kevalam.